FC Bullard is now on YouTube.
Yeah, we've seen the comments, the millions and millions of comments. So here it is. Enjoy.
What we need you to do is subscribe, comment on the video, up the Pirates, and then you can win some massive FC Bullard merch.
Big shirt frame empty there, Jim.
We need a silk in there.
We need a what?
A silk, yeah. That's what we're going to go with. A shirt, basically.
Shirt. We need a shirt. Now, we need a lot of shirts.
Yes.
As in, we need a kit.
We need a kit.
I've got opinions on kits. Have you got opinions on kits?
Plenty. As you know, we love it.
Love kits. We're going to get onto that. But we're not experts, are we? When it comes to...
Far from.
The
Where'd
design.
you start with it?
Yeah.
There's 101 questions.
So, we need to speak to somebody who knows. Yeah, I mean, he keeps piping up and we'll get
to him in a minute.
I'm going to actually intro him now.
Yeah.
He's not just any old kit designer.
Go on. What's he done?
He designed a World Cup winning kit.
Did he?
He designed a kit that a team played in and won the World Cup in.
Then I'm looking how old he is, and then I'm going, right, okay, yeah, go on.
Wasn't 66. I know it wasn't 60. Wasn't that one. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy, everybody, please welcome kit aficionado, guru, kit designing legend, Rob Warner.
Welcome, mate.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome to
FC Bullard.
Hey.
The first ever one, mate.
Know. How
You're
exciting.
right under
What
the
a
gun.
Privilege, yeah. It's going to be right up there with the World Cup winner.
So I've got a first question. Is that your job, kit design? Is that all you do?
For a long time it was, yeah, for about 15 years. Since then I've kind of diversified out into other areas of fashion and sport. But
Okay. And how did that come about? What?
it started off when I was a kid originally. So I used to buy Roy the Rovers, or my parents would buy it for me.
Of course you did.
And I'd Tipp-Ex out the kits and like draw my own kits over the top of it for like Melchester Rovers and stuff.
That.
And then as I got a little bit older, kind of grew out of that, and I used to Tipp-Ex out the words and put my own kind of Viz style storylines into it.
So when you were Tipp-Exing them out,
Yeah.
what were you replacing them with? The kit colours?
It just depend. I remember having a set of chunky felt tips that came with a Happy Meal at McDonald's that had got like different tips on that could do different width stripes and things like that. So I started off doing little different stripes and things, and then gradually worked my way up from there.
That's
really.
mad.
But yeah.
So what was your first job in it? Where did you start working? Who'd you work for?
Yeah, so I started off with Puma. So I graduated with
Right.
a fashion degree. Started off with Puma in the UK. And the first kit I did was, I think, a third kit for Everton. And
So
then
you're straight in then?
Yeah.
But straight in at the big end. How can someone give you all that pressure?
Responsibility, isn't it?
Responsibility is the word. Yeah, how did that happen? And how old was you?
I was
12?
22.
Right, that's nuts, isn't it?
So how long from getting into the company were you actually
Did you have that
designing
responsibility?
the kit?
Not long at all. Probably about 6 months or
Back
something.
then there's less rules as well, and it was rawer, weren't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So was it you designed? So you got it from scratch to design that kit?
That one, yeah. So there was a kit designer based at Puma headquarters out in Germany who was working on the big assets at the time. So it would have been on the Everton home kit, Lazio, Cameroon, that sort of stuff. And then part way through that process, he wanted to move back to the UK. So I spoke a little bit of German. I think that was what qualified me for the job. So.
And because let's have it right. That's a cool job. Like for me and you, right, someone who loves their fashion and footy, right, that is as good as it gets. You've got bootmakers as well, I'd say you're going to have to chuck in.
Yeah,
But that, was it a cool job back then? Did you think that's like epic?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And even then, going on to work on the Italy kits, and we did that in collaboration with Neil Barrett, who was the original creative director of Prada Menswear and Prada Sport. So back when I was a student was when Prada Sport was really emerging, and David Beckham was going down the catwalk and all that. So to work with Neil was amazing. So I spent loads of time down in Milan, set up a separate little studio for us.
What was that like, Milan? Because that's the epicentre of fashion, right?
I didn't like it to begin with.
Why?
I used to nickname it Milanchester. It was
It's quite industrial, isn't it?
Very industrial. It's got the beautiful bits right in the centre, but a lot of it's very industrial. A lot of dog cack everywhere as well.
Right, okay.
Which kind of took me by surprise because I was expecting it to be more fashionable.
Dog cack. What
It's cacchio, actually, in Italian.
Oh, cacchio.
Caca.
Brilliant.
But no, that was where I first developed my addiction to coffee as well. At the time, I went from, like, in the space of 2 weeks, went from not drinking coffee to 8 double espressos a day.
Do you remember your first trip to the San Siro? Had you been to the San Siro before?
I hadn't. I went whilst I was over there. I went to see Dortmund against Milan in the Champions League. I was right up in the gods as well.
Yeah,
amazing. Have you been to San Siro?
No.
Oh,
unreal.
It's like that amphitheatre, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's pitched.
Similar to Nou Camp?
It seems really sunk.
Yeah, it is.
It seems like really
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, holds a lot of water, does it?
Hey!
First one was all right.
Yeah, good stuff.
That
all right.
pirate thing's got to go, innit?
So in episode 1...
I've heard it, yeah.
Oh, you've heard it?
Yeah.
You want it... Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
I've said it going now.
Okay, then. Where I was going with, what do you think, as a kit designer, legs or no legs with a pirate thing?
Not with a pirate.
Hey!
No, I like the premise of thieving the 3 points, etc. I was wondering if more it could be the raccoons, and then that'd take you down a route of, like, well, they're a bit sneaky and like to nick things, don't they? And
I got you.
Could take you down quite an interesting route with the kit of, like, black and white hoops or.
Yes.
You know.
So you've had a little think
I've
about it.
had a little think before I came down. Yeah.
All right.
Good.
My next question is, because we brought you on for one thing, lovely backstory that you've got, brilliant, super, but we want to really design a kit.
Yeah.
That's what we've got to do. We want our fans to help us.
Yeah.
But what are the do's and don'ts in making a kit? Are there do's and don'ts?
There can be. I used to think there wasn't when I was working on Cameroon kits, and that was why we had 2 banned by FIFA. One had no sleeves, and the other one was shirt and shorts all in one.
You didn't design the all-in-one with the?
It was a lad on my team, yeah. So I had creative oversight of the all-in-one, yeah.
I've got a Polaroid of me wearing that.
Have you?
From the day of Soccer M.
How did you get that?
Got sent into Soccer M.
Used to get loads of stuff sent.
Look, I tell you what. When that kit was designed, I wasn't the model that you had in mind for it.
No, totally.
Which is, I mean, that's an important aspect of it in terms of when you're designing for athletes, you've got to think about how they're going to feel in the product as well.
Right, okay.
So, you taught yourself about loving fashion, and that's true of most footballers.
Yeah.
So you've got to take that aesthetic part into it. So doing the all-in-one kit for Cameroon was great because we knew it was going on prime Rigobert Song and Patrick Mbomar.
When you say all-in-one kit, I still not got my head around it. What do you mean?
So it's like, like a cycling suit. Imagine.
Yeah.
No, I've never seen it.
Had a zip.
Had zips on the shoulders.
Zips on
you
the
had
shoulders.
to step into it.
What was your thinking behind that then? Streamline, obviously.
Yeah, so it was launched in 2004, and still at that time, shirt pulling was a massive thing, and players wearing big baggy shirts.
Before you go to and have yourself, it didn't catch on, did it?
No, it got banned.
Who by FIFA?
Yeah, so it was.
What did it get banned for?
They said it was because the rules specify separate shirt and shorts, but they didn't.
Got you.
As proven at the Court of Arbitration for Sport in Switzerland, or would have been if there hadn't been a.
Did they wear it though?
Yeah, so they wore it at the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah.
Were told not to. Carried on wearing it, and then they got fined and deducted 6 points from their World Cup qualifying campaign.
No,
So,
really?
Yeah, so Puma took it up legally, and it almost got to CAS in Switzerland, and then there was an out-of-court settlement, and Cameroon got the 6 points and the fine back.
What else is there, do's and don'ts? Come talk to me.
Well, you want to do something iconic,
yes.
Ideally. You want something that's really going to stand out. So there's probably three principles, 3 main golden rules that you're aiming for in designing a great kit. So you want it to be iconic.
Yep.
You want it to be meaningful. So the fans have got to be able to relate to it. It can't just be a shirt. And then
what? Give me an example. Go on.
So by having details in it. So for the 2006 World Cup, we designed the fastest football shirt on earth. So it was tested in a wind tunnel and everything else, and it was, this is the right answer, So from a performance perspective, so every Puma team at the tournament, Italy,
got you.
Senegal, everybody else. And so to make it stand out a bit, we wanted to bring in personalised details. So everybody had a national icon on the front of the shirt. So if they were covering the crest when they're singing the national anthem, you could still tell who it was. So for Senegal, we did a baobab tree, which we learned was an important thing. Come to present it to the Senegalese officials, and the assistant coach of the squad started crying because he was so proud that this tree was going to be on the shirt.
Wow.
For Ivory Coast, we did an elephant. It took us about 4 goes to get the elephant right because the length of the trunk is significant to men from the Ivory Coast. So we had to keep going and started off with it being anatomically correct, and then we had to keep extending it a bit. Yeah, so things like that, and then we put the country names on the back in the national tongue. So, or whatever the language was. So Tunisia was written in Arabic. We tried to do Bulgaria in Cyrillic, which didn't quite go to plan. So
there's a lot of detail involved.
Yeah, so I took that to Bulgaria to present. I wasn't expecting Hristo Stoichkov was in the room because he was coach at the time.
Oh.
And I've walked in hangover because I'd been out drinking with the Cameroon national team in Hamburg the night before. And I've walked into this room. Yeah. And Stoichkov sitting there, and tough crowd. Really tough crowd.
Really?
Yeah, proper.
Tougher than this?
Yeah, definitely. Well, he got all his assistant coaches, henchmen. They look like extras from Taken. Sat around smoking like heavy duty Eastern European fags. And I've walked in there trying to present
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where are they?
Just cut a slice through the smoke.
Brilliant.
And we've got to the bit where I've built up to and it's national pride, and it's got Bulgaria written on the back. And we just lifted it off the crest and didn't realise that instead of saying Bulgaria, it said Bulgarian Football Association. So I've shown him this jacket, and it's got Bulgarian written on the back, so the equivalent of it saying English or Irish or whatever, and they all just burst out these deep Eastern European laughs.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, they were like not
having it.
Impressed. No,
you just, oh no.
But yeah, I think those little details. The last Everton kit I worked on, we had little laser perforated vents down the sides for breathability, and the top one was Prince Rupert's Tower off the badge, just to
nice
make
detail.
it that bit more personal.
Did it not go for an era as well? I remember like stretching kit, freeway stretch kit, weren't it? I know they brought it into rugby.
It would have been around about 2000, 2002, and Kappa started it with Italy, with doing the really high stretch shirt.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, shirts gradually got more fitted. Players could see the benefit of not having these enormous baggy shirts on.
Players were less fat as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
They started
getting into better condition. And then we then the industry did start to focus on that. So our aim was, the stretchy shirts were great because they were tight, but if an opponent got a handful of it, they could keep a handful of it. So we worked then on how can we make that not happen. So in the 2002 World Cup, Vieri's gone up for a header, and the South Korean defender's got a handful of his really stretchy shirt. So we developed a fabric that stretched but only in one direction. So if the same thing happened, he'd lose grip of it. So rather than, he's pulled his shirt and it's a foul, and it's like, well, the opponent will gain no advantage even if he manages to grab the shirt. So it's really going to that.
Wow, that's outrageous.
That level of insight.
That's amazing.
It's mental, isn't it, that?
Do you think about fans in terms of are they going to wear this with jeans and stuff like that? Sorry.
He's just come from the Bulgarian.
Yeah.
I've been for an
interview with a Bulgarian.
I've been hanging on to that for about the last 5 minutes. Sorry.
Smoking cigarettes, you can't even snap it off.
He tried not to.
It's amazing.
I've got no idea what you said last 5 minutes, mate. So, what's the third thing?
So the third thing is having it be purposeful. So it's not just designing a kit for the players and all the fans. It's got to be able to do both. So having that understanding of what does an athlete need, what does a fan want to be able to relate to the shirt. So that's where you bring in. The impact is where people see it on the TV. The purpose is the player wearing it and being able to gain an advantage from wearing it, and then the meaning is the fan getting it in their hands and feeling it's been designed just for them.
Can I just go back to the Italy kit? The one, was that Germany? Was that the Germany World Cup?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I read that was you'd used superheroes.
Yeah. So for each country,
I just imagined Superman down the right wing.
Well.
Okay.
Hold that thought, James. So every country wanted a national icon on the front of the shirt, like the baobab tree for Senegal. And for Italy, we were talking to people there, and they were like, "Well, the national team are superheroes," because it was all Cannavaro and Vieri and Buffon and all these lads. And so we come up with a concept of what would a comic book superhero look like, and because it was all about, the kit was all about speed and aerodynamics and lightweight, so we wanted to create these kind of marks on the shirt that would look in a still photograph as if the player was moving, like in a comic book. You'd have the faded lines, and then for the away shirt we took the neckline of the home and put it underneath just a white V-neck. So it was kind of the idea of Clark Kent and superhero. So like Clark Kent was the away shirt, and you just got a white shirt over your superhero outfit, and then the home kit was the proper kit. But they never wore the away kit in the tournament. It was the home kit for every match, unfortunately.
You're a Villa fan, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Is it true that you managed to get some claret and blue into that?
Did you?
No, you didn't.
Sneaked it in, yeah. So so the coaching staff were wearing claret with navy, and then Buffon's second choice goalkeeper shirt was claret and navy as well. So it was nice to you see Marcello Lippi running around with the World Cup, and there he is with a little bit of Villa knocking about on it.
We were just saying earlier though, I mean, let's have it right, you know, congratulations obviously
that's class.
on that is remarkable, but you know, you've got the right models, haven't you, for your kit? You've got those boys, you've got Perlo and
I mean, they looked all right in it, didn't they?
Imagine our ugly mob in it. Going down the line, it's like they're all different shapes and sizes, isn't they? You got Maldini, Perlo. Who else did you have?
Cannavaro.
Oh, you had them all, didn't they? Almost model like themselves.
Zambrotta, Vieri, even Gattuso was, wasn't it?
Yeah, quality.
But but you have to take that into account though, the players. So you can do skin tight stuff for Cameroon, but we were also kitting out the Czech Republic, and how's Thomas Rosicky and Jan Koller going to look like in skin tight gear?
Tiny, aren't they?
Yeah, just 7 stone wet through, the pair of them.
Have you ever done a Villa kit?
Do you know what? I haven't.
If you got the call, would it be something you'd want to do, or would it be like, oh, this is too close to home? No,
I'd love to.
Yeah,
I'd love to. Yeah, it'd be amazing. I've done an England kit, so I've been fortunate enough to.
What one did you do?
I was at Umbro.
The one I had on the back, was it?
It wasn't. I actually did it. That was just before I got there. But some of the fellas that designed that were still there when I arrived.
Right.
So I actually did the last ever Umbro England kit that was the white and red one.
I love that kit.
That was the only time that England have worn the colours of the George Cross.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of debate heading towards the Euros about the new home kit's got a multicoloured George Cross on the back.
Yeah.
Right. But we did that on the previous home kit as well. We worked with Peter Saville, obviously graphic design icon. Yeah. And we got him working on different coloured George Crosses to represent the diversity of the nation. There was no uproar about it at all.
It had the little.
That's right.
It was brilliant, and that felt for me like the first time that a brand in England had almost kind of like collaborated with tailors. It seemed like, and it was like the thought that had gone into it, the collaboration, and to sort of elevate it.
Yeah, totally. And that was the intent, was to bring that additional meaning. So the team had done some phenomenal England shirts over the years. You know, Umbro were kitting out England for 50 years.
Yeah.
And right from the outset, some of the work had been amazing, but we just wanted to bring that extra bit of, oh, no way, when you pick it up.
And how do you get them gigs just a bit off sketchy? Do you just get a phone call? Is it like that? How does it work?
It's usually, so you'd get headhunted by an agency, so you're full-time employed by the brand.
Yeah.
Now I've got my own agency and collaborate with just a few brands, rather than...
And what was the last kit you done?
The last kit I did, ironically, was the same as the first one. I did an Everton kit in 2014.
Right, okay.
That was the first year of Martinez being at Everton, I think, or maybe this might have been the second year, but it was the first Umbro Everton kit to come back. And it almost became the most famous kit I'd done, because Justin Bieber was photographed wearing the third kit. And it went absolutely viral.
Really?
It's like, why is he wearing an Everton kit?
Football fans always used to wear football shirts, but now, like, Justin Bieber's wearing a football shirt. Everyone's wearing football shirts and vintage football shirts.
The curse of Drake as well, famously, where he tends to pick up football shirts on his way around, gets photographed in it, and then they get beat the following weekend.
That was going around. That was going around socials. Every shirt he had, they'd lose.
What shirts was he wearing?
He's had all sorts. I know he's not really.
I think he just liked them as fashion wear, and that's what I want to touch on, right? Because that takes nicely on when we do design a shirt. And you haven't given us. You're going to help us design a shirt first.
Yeah, sure.
Would you like to do
Definitely.
that? Yeah. I want to design a footy shirt where we just wear it with jeans as well.
Yeah.
not just on the pitch. So we need it to cover every...
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Something where fashion, like you'd wear it to a pair of jeans, you're going out, having a drink, do you get what I mean, or whatever.
What's your favourite football kit of all time? Your favourite shirt? Let's just go with the shirt.
Have you got one?
I'll usually give a different answer every time.
Okay, but for today.
Well, that ain't your favourite then, Rob, is it?
I know, for today. Well, it's like fashion, you change what you wear every day, don't you? Depending on your mood. I always like the Peru kits from the 70s, like the Adidas ones with the sash across, because again, so iconic.
Isn't it?
The sash. It is, it's big. Like, you love the sash, I love the sash, Rob loves the sash.
To all of our fans, if you're going to help us design a kit, yeah? Are we going to say here, between the three of us, it has to have a sash?
Not now. You've gone very early on that.
Well, I want to get in.
We need the second series. You know, we can't just...
But I won't be happy if it hasn't got a sash.
Well...
And I don't think Rob will, and I don't think you will. So why don't we just put it out
there? We need to investigate all avenues. That's what we're doing. We're talking through it. We're workshopping it.
Yeah.
And then it's got to have an iconic element. So there's the sash. We all love Boca Juniors with the stripe across the front.
River Plate, right?
River Plate, Sampdoria. So don't limit it to the sash. I'd say there's just got to be something iconic that people will identify. That's FC Bullard from a distance.
I had Sash Pirates badge.
Did you? Like an
we've
iPad
come,
right
we've
across
stolen.
the shirt.
Yeah, but you wanted us running out to Captain Pugwash. Theme tune.
Such a dick.
This is a Crystal Palace shirt. And Rob, you're going to tell me what year that's from.
91, last season before the Premier League, maybe.
I love that shirt. What I like about that shirt...
What do you like?
I do like the colours. I love the long sleeve.
Yep.
I love the badge on...
I love
the sponsor on the
arm.
arm.
A long sleeve, by the way.
But for me, why I really love this, I love the sponsor.
But what do you like about that?
The Marseille kit that Chris Waddle wore.
Yeah.
White, blue stripes, but what was the sponsor?
I feel like it wasn't
Panasonic.
Philips. That's right.
Panasonic.
I was going to say Philips. Yeah,
so you think
a lot
it makes the kit a lot sponsored?
It does.
Yeah, if you get the right sponsor, it's like the Newcastle Brown Ale thing. A bottle that was brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
If you get the right Liverpool, its first sponsor, Hitachi.
I've actually brought one with me. That's an example of where sponsors go wrong.
Well, get it out, Rob.
Go on, Rob.
So here we are. So I was dead.
Rob,
I was dead excited.
Why are you going? So do you have to take the sponsor into account when you're making it?
Yeah, totally. So working with Lazio and being out at Puma, so they were sponsored by Siemens for ages, and Siemens was like 20 minutes drive from the Puma office, and because both Puma and Siemens were spending a fortune, if you think of this is Lazio with Crespo, Veron, big hitters, it was a lot of money at the time, and Siemens would send somebody down to measure the final prototype so that the sponsor logo can be 200 square meters on the front of the square centimeters on the front of the shirt, and he'd come down with a tape measure to make sure it was exactly as big as it could be.
Right, okay.
But it was dead easy to work with. They were quite flexible with colours. We could make it work with the shirt. Their base colour was white, so that was dead easy. Working with Everton, with Chang Brewery, because they're from Thailand, there's certain colours that are really unlucky or represent death or whatever. So you might do a kit that's black and purple, but then you've got to be really careful about what colour the sponsor logo is, because the sponsor won't sign it off.
Right, gotcha.
So we'd been doing all these Lazio shirts, expecting them to have Siemens or Siemens Mobile across the front.
Yeah.
And we designed some, and I was really pleased. We've got this beautiful sharp blue for the home shirt, offset it against black on the away shirt. And then when it finally turned up on pitch, because the sponsor deal was done so late in the day, it was out of our hands. The shirts were sent to Italy, unsponsored, and the sponsors were applied in the warehouse at the last minute. And so they showed up on field with this vintage Parma ham company in colours that, as a designer, you would never choose to put those colours on the front of a black and blue football shirt. And it
goes.
I don't like it.
Do you not like it?
No, well, it's yellow and brown. It just made me feel a bit sad at the time.
Right, okay. So you think that spoils your shirt?
It does, yeah. I think compared to if that had got a really clean, I mean, you've just referenced TDK, Panasonic, if that had just got Siemens across the front of it, it just feels a bit more wearable. Again, you talk about wanting to wear it down the pub.
What you got this old Stoke shirt?
Paraguay.
Oh, I see. These. What's the script with the South American, like? They just make elite quality kits. Why is that?
I don't know.
How do they do it?
They love it.
Is it just because of their flair, do you reckon?
I think
the fan base side to it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it might have been the era, because a lot of the South American clubs kind of sprouted up when British people went over to South America and kind of brought football there.
Yeah.
And it was still a very traditional era for British kits, and they started to move on a bit. So some of the really old classic kits, there was actually one that did have a skull and crossbones as the badge. There was a club called Hackney Black Rovers, and that was their badge, and it looked stunning. And then Hearts literally had a great big heart, and there was a lot of these elements were appearing, and so I think they just kind of grasped onto that and were able to take it and work with it. So with Paraguay, it had always been kind of the vertical red and white stripes, and then I don't know how crispy this is going to be, because it's been in a bag for nearly 20 years, but yeah, we managed to...
Was that literally fresh out the bag, that?
Yeah.
I love that.
Literally, it's been in the loft for 20 years. And so because the front panel's it's all one piece, there's no sleeve seam down the front there, which was for aerodynamics. So the collar's higher at the front, the hem's lower at the front. Yeah, so that has gone pretty crispy compared to one that's been knocking around for a while. But like the weight of it...
It's a weird material, it's very light.
Do you know what I love about that?
Go on.
I love the placement of the Puma there.
Right in the middle.
Well, because the intent was that the player number would then be on the opposite side.
Right.
So you'd have Puma in the middle. We put the cats on the shoulders, so rather than on the sleeve, so that when, as a player dips to sprint, you get a bit more visibility of it. The only place that's got real stretch is across the back, which is that blue panel, which is like a really stretchy material. Yeah. So if you're rotating your arms forward, you've got full mobility, but the rest of the shirt's really hard to grab.
And it's got like capped sleeves, hasn't it? For
really short.
For the
show off the pistols.
For the
muscle.
Wow.
Just detail in the red as well. It's got a little dot in it, and it's nice.
Yeah. So no, it was that was a fun one. So that was the basis of what all the teams wore for the World Cup. Yeah. So we tested that in a low velocity wind tunnel. Tested the weight dry, tested it when wet. Really went to the far end of a fart, really, to make sure it was absolutely on point for what it needed to be.
Well, I've got some kits, right? Yeah, I don't know where to start. I've gone over
just
the top.
Go for it. Let's just get them out and have a look.
But these all have a meaning for me.
Yeah, no,
these
great.
are all my shirts that a couple I've nicked off the back of some players, right? So shall I start there? Yeah. I'm going to see if you can call this.
All right.
I'm going to see if you can call it.
Do you want me to close my eyes?
No, you're going to have to close your eyes. So, this one.
Oh, look at that.
It's a Danish shirt, obviously. I played with this boy at Wigan.
He signed it there at the front.
Oh, no. Did you give it away? Oh, no. So, this means a lot to me, because he's probably one of the best centre midfielders I've ever played with. You know it is now. So it's not.
I've not seen it.
So, who do you think? Because you're usually good on
Danish.
That have been Klaus Jensen or somebody like that.
No, close. He was very good friends with him. Do you remember him?
Oh, I know. Per Fransen.
Wow.
Do you know how I know?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Because I read the autograph. I managed to work it out on the front. But that's a great shirt, though.
But filler heavy that is, and that's like real heavy, dense.
Yeah, 1998.
Is that a match-worn shirt?
But the reason why that means so much...
That's
a match worn, yeah. But the reason why that means so much, he was like the best player I've ever played with. Like, really? Yeah, his intelligence on the footy pitch.
Look at that typeface, though. Look at that typeface. That's fantastic.
That's stunning, that, isn't it? That's something else you have to think about. It's the typefaces. So doing the England shirts, we had to make two special concessions at the time. One was we had to get dispensation from FIFA to use the women's size typeface on the shirt for Sean Wright-Phillips. Because he got an extra large name and an extra small shirt.
Oh, really?
And then Peter Crouch had to have custom-made shorts and socks.
There wasn't many players I played come up against better than this player. Like, unbelievable player. Like, everyone knows I've got like a fetish, is that a fair word, on Riquelme.
Yeah.
Just because of the way he manipulated the football and like how good he was. I know I'm going a little bit off kits here, but this was probably one of the first shirts I asked for in the Premier League, and it's a bit weird for a player to ask for a shirt, especially the way my mind was. I didn't want to go in and ask for the player because I'd be against him another time, and it shows a bit of a
inferiority complex.
Yeah, do you get what I mean? It's a little bit weird for me.
So how did you go about getting it?
I just threw some balls,
yeah,
and this player absolutely dealt with me in this game. This is the actual shirt he wore. Do you remember? Like, see if you.
All right, is he a midfield player?
Centre midfielder. Right. Hell of a player. Long sleeve.
Not Ballack.
No.
SCN.
No.
Mikel.
I know.
He wore Umbro football boots.
Oh man, I should know this then.
Portuguese?
Deco. Yes,
Deco.
He was proper.
Like, honestly, Fenners, this game, that shirt, it was like one of the best performances I've ever played.
You only saw the back of it, didn't you? Hey! As in, during the game, you only saw the back of it because we was running away from you all the time.
Cheers, John.
Okay, it's just a bit of fun.
No, but I actually did, yeah. So that meant a lot to me, that shirt.
Well, now this we haven't teed this up. I promise you we haven't teed this up. Now I know you're probably thinking, because these guys were slick on Soccer AM, we probably teed it up. But so when we were doing Soccer AM, Jimmy used to go and do the drills. You know the drill.
Yeah.
Great feature that.
The best.
It needs bringing back, doesn't it?
Loved it, yeah.
You go around, wouldn't you? You go around all the clubs around Britain, and occasionally get invited to
an elite
somewhere. So you went to Italy, didn't you? Who did you do in Italy? Perisic.
Yeah.
Was it Perisic?
Yes,
yeah,
it was him.
Yeah. And brilliant. And
he was unreal, by the way. Like a fucking joke. Like, you got to remember, like, I've done alright. I played Prem, right? But this boy was like. Mate, the finishes were outrageous.
Oh, was it Pjanic?
Pjanic, yeah.
Sorry, you got it. Pjanic,
yeah.
Fucking level. He turned up, just absolute bov. Where do you want? Okay, you just send it over. Boom, top cut. I'm like, do you remember?
Yeah.
I didn't need any editing, just showed his first start. It was just so pure. But go on, crack on.
Yeah, so Jimmy got invited to go up to Barcelona, and
we all went, didn't we?
Well, I managed to blag my way on.
You weren't missing.
Can we make it a 2v2? Can we get a 2v2? I'm feeling good this week. Feeling good. So we turned up, and it was at the training ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I still remember it like it was yesterday.
It was Rivaldo and Deco,
right?
Hence the connection, and they give us these. They give us a kit. That's my Barcelona kit.
It was so good.
And
named us up. Didn't have to do none of that.
Yeah.
Did they?
And we stood there, and me and Jim were waiting and started off, and Deco stood there. Where's Rivaldo? And everyone's like looking around, going, and Deco shouting or whatever. And we turn round.
He's taking a leak in the bush.
Yeah.
Really?
He's just taking a leak behind the goal, and I've gone. He's there, John. He's just like. 1 minute. Yeah. He didn't speak no English.
No, he
did
didn't. I went to a match with him.
Oh my god! Like he just didn't give a monkeys, did he?
Yeah. No, it was like, it was so weird. Like, do you remember? I was going. It's embarrassing thinking about it now. Like you're calling players' names, like like if you had the ball, I'd be going Jim, and I'm going. Rivaldo!
Dex! Did we not deco Dex off?
No, I think that would have been too much.
Decoed off.
But you went to a game with him?
Yeah, I went to a game with him. So I was out. He was playing for Olympiacos, and I was out there presenting the new Olympiacos kit. And so the club owner came to the meeting, whatever. And that night, the stadium was hosting Greece against Denmark. And he got brought along as a guest. I think it was just the owner flexing his muscles. So I was sat by him, and in terms of like a man very comfortable in his own surroundings, and surprisingly tall as well.
Rivaldo, unbelievable. Like his limbs, he's like Dowsim off Street Fighter, weren't he? No wonder no one could get near him.
Yeah, totally.
Hadush, he's just unbelievable.
So I was sat. We had his missus sat between us because she spoke English, so I had to try and communicate with.
Yeah, he was
can you ask Rivaldo this for me?
Yeah. Rangy.
Well, again, go on. What you got, John?
Not seen up at all, but
oh, there we go.
That's the Brazil shirt from
2002. So my business partner designed that.
2000, really? Yeah.
Yeah, we're the only.
Wow.
Spark Design Academy is the only place you can find back-to-back World Cup winners in the design industry.
Is it all fair to say here Brazil do bring out the best looking kits?
Belters.
This is the kind of more original one.
Yeah.
Pele's.
Signed by Pele.
That's and so I interviewed him. I was very lucky to interview him for 8 minutes.
Wow.
That's all I got. 8 minutes.
What was he like?
He was amazing.
Lovely.
Legend.
Just
I used to get a couple of hours when I met him.
Yeah, go on.
So it was when we were launching all the World Cup collections for Puma for 2006. We did a big retailer event, and we hired out an unused platform of the Potsdamer Platz underground station right underneath what would have been the Berlin Wall. And the first 3 days we had some retailers in. Then there was a day off, and then 3 days some other retailers came in. So the day off we'd all planned open top bus tour around Berlin, dead nice weather. And I was told by the marketing team, "No, you've got to come into work." I was like, "Nah, come on, we're going out Tuesday night, Wednesday, open top bus tour, hangover. No, you've got to come in." And they're like, "Wear something nice." So I've gone in the next morning, and it's all rigged up, camera crew, everything. They're like, "Right, Pele's coming in, and you're showing him the collection." So I had like 2 hours with Pele and a camera crew, and just walking down.
Showed him all the bits.
Yeah, because we'd brought back a load of the stuff that Puma had done with him in the 70s when he was a Puma athlete. So we'd brought back all these track jackets and things that he'd worn. So he was there to unveil that to the top retailers, but he was dead interested in everything else. And so I'd got a prototype of the shirt that all the World Cup teams wore, and as it went, the prototype was yellow. So I managed to get him to sign that for me, and that's framed at home with like the original sketch. But great guy, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there was a really nice story. So he was staying in the hotel that was really close to the venue, and as he came out the hotel, they tried to like sneak him down to the venue, and a busload of tourists, like French kids, just tipped out onto the pavement as he came out, and they're all dead excited trying to take pictures of him. And apparently the one kid was so nervous, he was shaking so much he couldn't take the picture, and Pele's took the phone off him and done it himself and gave it back to him.
Must have. Yeah.
And it was just, that was a measure of the type of guy that he seemed to be like, was just so
Class
nice.
out.
Jim, did you enjoy wearing any particular colours when you were playing? Or did you ever sign for a club and you were like, it's not really me, that. It's not really going to go with mine?
The kit that I really liked was the black and white Fulham kit.
Yeah.
I just loved it. It was simple. It was tight. It was just really class.
Yeah.
And I also wore them with. So you got to match boots to your kit as well. You got to be very careful. Do you know what I mean? Some don't really go. But I used to wear the black Addy Pures with a kit, and it had a bit of an old school look to it. White, black trims. It had black shorts with the white trim up the side.
Was it Peter?
No, that was before me. We had LG, we had a sponsor,
right,
and we had the other one. It was real stretchy. I forget now. It was.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Because did you play in the Kappa and the Adidas kits?
Kappa was the year before me, and then the kit I hated the most was Hull Gold, just my Barnet. It just looked horrible. Looked like it just didn't go. I hated that kit, gold and black kit. But then Hull also had a black kit.
Yes.
All black away kit, and I used to love playing in that kit. It was absolute dynamite.
I remember arriving at Umbro, and one of the lads in the design team had designed that kit, and he was a massive Jimmy Bullard fan. West Ham supporter and a massive Jimmy Bullard fan.
Shut up!
He was obsessed, so he used to wear the Hull shirt round the office because you wore it.
Gold and black stripes.
Yeah.
There's still a load of people send me it. They go on like stag do's, and they all they dress up as me, big mullet with a gold and black kit, with the shorts up here. Well done.
Did he have the shorts pulled up round?
He used to give it all that.
It's just like embarrassing. But yeah, Wigan I like, blue, white stripe, nice and simple.
That was peak Bullard. Long sleeves.
Always. But I used to mix it up a little bit. I used to mix a long and short sleeve up. Trying to think back at my kit. Like Ipswich had a lovely kit. Like all black, gold trim numbers. Do you get what I mean? Again, long sleeve. Do you know what? All black kits. I used to like black kits.
That Real Madrid all black kit was.
That was filth.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But
they done a Yoji Yamamoto collaboration, didn't they? On an all black kit.
Did they? Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, it was amazing.
A little bit of a story behind this. Hated the colour. Hated
small, that.
Wigan away kit. I don't think it's a Wigan away. I think they had a third kit. They used to call it a clash kit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Used to sling it in. And I wore this shirt. This was the shirt. It's on you. I don't remember a lot of my goals, right? But I remember this one, Leeds away. I scored in front of the home end.
Did you?
Kit, yeah.
Just give it a big one.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, it was mustard. Like, you don't score a lot. I didn't score that many goals, but when it's away at backgrounds like that.
Yeah.
The kit just sits. So there's a little bit of a memory in there. But apart from that, Fulham kit was my favourite to answer your question. And then I got this.
Oh, here we go.
This is my England jersey, World Cup qualifier with a number 18 on, against Germany. And there's a weird story behind this. And me and my agent put something in the press 6 months before, because I was playing well and he thought, you might have a sniff of the England squad here. So he got out in the press and he spoke to a few managers that, Jimmy's German. My nan was full German. And he put it out in the press. Klinsmann was manager. And there's an article here and there saying, Jimmy can play for Germany. The very next England squad, they come calling.
Really?
Yeah, so how much did that have an impact? And Germany was in our group stage qualifier. And I didn't make it on the pitch. I was on the bench. But I got to wear the shirt and, amazing times. Like that's memories.
But how different are the match-worn shirts that players wear compared to the ones that you would buy in your retail stores?
Depends on the brand. So, like with the Puma one there, it was still quite a new thing to do a different one for the players. Yeah. So we got the Puma Paraguay shirt there, and that was the first time Puma had done one that was really different for the players.
Okay.
So what they sell in shop wouldn't be what the players wear? Is that what you're saying?
Not back. Well, back then it was all the same, and then I think Nike and Adidas had started to do the players version and a fans version. This time out, a lot of the brands are doing 3 versions. So there's the player spec one, there's the fan spec one, and then there's a much cheaper, more affordable one, which we used to do back then because we sponsored so many teams in Eastern Europe and Africa that. It just wasn't accessible for people, so we used to do a really de-spec'd version.
Players have customised boots, don't they? They have their own boot that's built around a last.
Yeah.
That they have a cast and get the boots made specifically for them. Are there any examples of players who've asked for things to be modified on shirts?
Not necessarily asked for them as such. Certainly not in my experience. Sometimes you'd get a certain amount of superstition. Goalkeepers would have very particular. Some of them wanted bright colours because they believed that the attacker would instinctively aim for it.
Got you.
Whereas other goalkeepers would think the opposite and say, I don't want a bright colour because it makes me easier to avoid. We had to do bespoke products sometimes if players had kind of additional requirements. Sean Wright-Phillips with his big name and his small shirt. Peter Crouch with his long legs, so we had to do bespoke socks and shorts. But there wasn't really the
Crouch's shorts are just trousers.
Yeah, exactly. To everybody else.
What else you got, Bully?
I've got to show you this one because
Yeah.
I should have signed for these, and it kills me because it is a regret. Celtic printed me up a lovely shirt with my name on the back, and I just could really see myself wearing that, and it never bloody happened in the magical green and white hoops.
When you pulled that out, I wondered if perhaps you'd made an appearance in the... Didn't they have a Stilly and Petrov charity
They did,
match?
yeah, it wasn't that. I actually had a chance to sign for them.
Did you?
And I didn't. They gave me this shirt, and I should have.
So they gave you that up when you went to speak to them, did they?
Yeah, put my name on it and give me that little, you'll get the 10 jersey and this and that spiel, and yeah. Anyway, and this is my Wigan, probably the shirt that I've had on my back the most over my career, and that's the Wigan black, blue and white stripe. But that was the Carling Cup final shirt that when Man United ironed us out 4-0. And that was the Cristiano Ronaldo nutmeg that everyone seems to remind me of. But signed it to my granddad, Pucker, that was like that. Just means something. You've got the little badge up there, Carling Cup final. You've achieved something. Them kits just mean that little bit more to you.
That's you.
That's how I remember.
That's Pete Bully with his little bit wet look.
Yeah, little bum, little bit of Brill cream on it. Brill cream was the order of the day. A little bit of curly up. Loved it, mate. But kits, always loved them.
So do you have a preference in terms of colour then? If we're thinking FC Bullard, what's what would be your ideal colour based on everybody you've played for or not?
See, black and white. I can't get out of black and white.
Yeah.
I really can't. All the kits I go for Real Madrid, Oman away,
Yeah.
River Plate with a white with a stripe across it. I've got red, but I've got black in my head as a vision. Juventus, all these big Fulham's the kit that I probably like wearing the most. So in my head,
well, we talked about Juventus. And
amazing kit, like unbelievable.
Pink away kit, totally get away with it.
But then I also like the Bayern Munichs and stuff when you go for that real big standout yellow and black, big thick stripe through it. So. Look, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
I really struggle. Your mind, it's almost like it just goes off in all kinds of avenues, and it's really hard to set on one idea and colour.
I think Rob alluded to it earlier. You know, it's like you ask somebody what your favourite song is or your favourite film. It's going to change all the time,
exactly.
Isn't it?
And I think that's part of the thing with kits. And you talked about do you think about people wearing them with jeans? And one of the first clubs that I worked with that really had that in their mindset was Bordeaux, and they were like, we want 3 shirts, and the home shirt, because they always have the scapulaire on the front, speaking of iconic elements, and so they were saying
scapulaire,
so that's like the V shape on the front. And so they said you can modernise that every season, do what you want with the V, with the scapulaire, that'll be the home shirt, and we know that we'll sell home shirts because we always do. Then the away and third, one of them make it really youthful and modern and use graphics, and then the other one make it look really good with jeans. And that was always the approach that we took, and even after we left, and it was such a clever way of looking at it in terms of from driving additional revenue and being able to sell more shirts and sign better players for FC Bullard, but then also from a fan's perspective, that it's not like, oh well, I've got to tap out here, there's nothing I like this season. You know, you're thinking about different people.
So Rob, we need this kit. So if you were coming into our office, let's say, you know, we wanted to give you the gig, you know, you may be down to the last couple, you know, it's not.
Have we given? We ain't.
It's not signed, sealed, and delivered by any stretch at the moment. But what? So you know, you want to go away from here knowing what we want. So what questions would you be asking prospective presidents and directors of football and kit men? What sort of things?
The president.
You're the president.
I'm
the director of football.
Yeah.
Probably the treasurer as well. It's probably a good one. What sort of things would you be wanting to know from us? Fire away in your own time.
So I think really you look for the real insights of getting underneath the skin of the club or the local area, you know. So knowing that the aim is to be central London, obviously for the club. So you really look at what are the little things that you can create something iconic that will appeal to people on a massive basis, but people that are local and get it really get it. So what are the insights we can get from Jimmy around little bits of stories that people will like it as a design detail, but anybody who knows will be like, that's clever. And so that's the type of thing that you would always really look for. So I was involved with when New York Cosmos tried to make a comeback, if you remember that, and they had Cantona as coach and whatever. So the original dream of all of that was, they were like, we're going to there'll be like pre-season games and we'll get Messi and Ronaldo in the same team and money's no object and whatever. So, you know, despite the way it played out in the end, it was a really fun project to go over there and really learn about some of the history of New York, of the club, and the things that we could bring in. So I've actually brought a track jacket with me that was inspired by the blackout. For those of you listening, it's essentially a black track jacket. But yeah, it was inspired by the blackout, which it turned out that was the day of the New York blackouts, was also the day that Carlos Alberto flew in to sign for the club. So we took what we designed for the Cosmos and we completely blacked it all out. Yeah, so the club badge on that is,
I see that.
Although it's tonal, that's actually a glow in the dark gel. So it'd get charged up, and then you go into a New York nightclub, that'll glow in the dark.
See what I mean?
The wording on the back's black on black, but that's reflective.
I love a bit reflective.
And so it all just came from that story of one of the club's greatest ever players signed on the day there was a power cut, and suddenly we've done an all black shirt and a track jacket and whatever else. For the launch, actually, we launched it at a little boutique down in Soho in New York.
Did ya?
And the opening of the shop was somebody launching a brick through the window because there was so much looting during the riots, and that was
went off.
Yeah, to go in and buy it, and that
was
was
you
it.
there?
It was staged.
But
It
that was
wasn't,
staged,
but yeah, it
right.
was staged.
Okay.
So
That's your brummy lot.
yeah, so
They're all up
so we had
to
a
them,
pane of sugar glass put in the window, and somebody launched a brick through, and it's like, right, there's the collection. So
That's brilliant.
Wicked.
It's great because it's all about. There's a reason for everything.
Yeah.
Isn't there? And
So
that's what we were saying. There's got to be a reason
Yeah,
for that.
that's
and
what
there's
I mean. Yeah,
a
yeah,
story.
absolutely.
There's a story behind it.
So I think the things for me would be understanding, have you got great memories of particular moments on a pitch or off the pitch, things that really stand out. What can we take
Wow.
from that? And with it being a new club, obviously the club history isn't established, but then
Isn't
you look
there,
at
is
Inter
it?
Miami, and then they've built that around the area, and there's like a flamingo or a crane or something on the badge, and they've taken the pink from it. And
I'm thinking, how are we going to get pie and mash on the shirt? Okay, well,
but even then, if that's the brief, then
That's not the
that's
brief.
No,
something
you
to
won't
work
have
with,
that.
isn't it?
okay, if we're going to say, because I'm from London background, they call London the smoke, right? The big smoke, big buildings.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I've got in my head.
Yeah, which even then, that gives me an idea around different shades of grey, the way we can
Yeah.
work it into a graphic. You might want to make it super lightweight, so it's like wearing a cloud, whatever.
ya.
There's plenty you can run with just from the little insights like that. So I remember when Craig and I, my business partner, worked together at Puma, we were doing a signature collection for Michael Schumacher. And so Craig went and spent a couple of days with Michael Schumacher to really understand about him and bring it to life, give it some meaning. But the only things he managed to get out of Michael Schumacher, because he was so focused on his Formula One driving, was he had a Chinese tattoo, and he liked that, and he liked listening to Shania Twain.
And that was it.
And so
Well,
Craig's done like 2 or 3 days.
What's the song to...
if you
That don't
Feels
impress
like
me
a woman.
much.
It don't impress me much. That's all he's got to have down. It's quite a good slogan,
so
isn't
we
it?
literally ended up with using like this Chinese tattoo on the thing, and then having to try and figure out the rest of it from somewhere, because there weren't a lot we could do with Shania Twain, like thigh-length boots or whatever.
So if you followed Jim around for a few
Yeah.
days, you'd end up at a fishing lake, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I live a
like,
boring life.
Um,
But this ain't going to be boring, designing this.
So
What would
maybe
you...
have some maggots on it, or some
Shut up,
bait,
talking about my
and listening to Simply Red.
There you go.
Yeah. What would you bring to the table? What do you want in the shirt?
This is what, as director of football, I'm looking
Doff.
for. I want long sleeved.
Yep.
Something geometrical.
Yeah.
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
So, like some kind of
Stripe,
stripe, or a chevron, or a sash.
Okay.
And I would like our sponsor to be, whatever the sponsor was, something that was kind of iconic, so that it is as well as a football shirt, it's a fashion. It's a fashion.
I think a fashion brand, if we could come on board.
So you're thinking a bit more like the kind of whole Venezia approach with everything they've done with their last few
cool
kits.
to have like that. I don't know.
A little collaboration. You touched upon it there with a couple of
Neil Barrett previously, Yoji Yamamoto with Real Madrid. There's been a few. Adidas did some stuff with Palace as well, with like Juventus kits and whatever. So yeah, there's always plenty of opportunities. Or even back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, when Dirk Bickenbergs was really playing into football as being a cornerstone of his fashion brand, they actually sponsored and kitted out the local team, and the kits were awesome, like really different, and it was just proper Dirk Bickenbergs fashion but applied to it.
That's where I'm looking.
So I think if you can bring those two worlds together of real fashion and then real performance insight, then that's where you strike gold.
We want this jersey on the catwalk, don't we?
Yeah, you're not a catwalk model though, so we're gonna have to get a model.
I have done modelling.
Who would you have?
I have done modelling for Rat Poison.
Rat Poison, absolutely.
Who would you have? Any Premier League player then to be your catwalk model?
Actually, Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Imagine that. That's his celebration.
Yeah, it is, mate.
Yeah, that would be quality.
I think he's probably patented it.
I think I've done it first.
Like
away at Leeds.
Like Michael Jordan.
I've done it first, mate.
Rob, what are the 3 things that our listeners/viewers need
Fans.
to... Fans? We got no fans. You want them? I'll give you them. What are the 3 things that they need to take into consideration for their briefs?
Yes.
Right, so it's got to be iconic, meaningful and purposeful. And to get into that, they've just got to do a load of research around Jimmy, around yourself, FC Bullard, and then use that to create an iconic visual, something that's going to speak to the fashion integrity of who you guys are. And then from a purposeful perspective, think about the needs of modern footballers. What do they need? What are you seeing on the pitch? How do we solve a problem? So if I walk into Jude Bellingham and we want to convince him to come and sign for...
Won't be hard.
For FC Bullard, but we could say, right, aside from the elite coaching, there's one other thing that can take your game to the next level, and that's going to be the kit does this. Don't be restricted, think big, but what are the things we can do so we get an iconic visual? As soon as you see it, even from the back of the San Siro, you know exactly what team it is.
Okay.
How do you give that some meaning, that it's not just any old design, it's got some meaning, and how do we make it purposeful for the athlete?
You have amazing dreams, don't you?
I do, yeah.
I bet they're unbelievable. His mind just wanders, mate.
Yeah.
Think big.
Just get on.
That's what I want you to do.
Get a lot of cheese
Think
on board
big.
before you go to kit. Just get
Nice bit of Parma ham wrapped round you.
Yeah, exactly.
What's a bit of brie? A bit of Kimber.
Okay, no, I've got it. But at least they've got it. They've got something to work with.
Yeah.
Where are they going to send all their stuff into? Just send it to us.
On the socials.
FC Bullard.
FC Bullard.
Get involved.
Simple.
We need your help,
that.
don't we? We need your help. We can't do it. We need your help. We need the fans' input, right?
We've got ideas, but we're very fast and loose at the minute.
It's loose at the minute.
We want it all. We want it all. We'll soak it up like sponges.
Yes.
And then we'll just wring out the bits we don't want, and we'll be left.
So we're not giving them any colours, nothing. Just go with it.
Let's see what they've got.
Yeah, if they've
heard us, if they've listened to this, they've heard us.
Hopefully, they'll surprise us with
Yes.
things that we'll look at it and say it looks great, and you'll
Love
go,
it.
"Oh yeah, it's that," and
love
that'll
this.
show that they've really
Fucking
got
love
it.
this.
We've given
I
them
can't wait to have a little bit of smutter on me.
We've
Go, have a piece of this right
We've given them
round.
some parameters, haven't we? We've given them
A
some
load of
basic
parameters. If they
guidelines.
listened, yeah. Okay. Mate, this is really exciting.
Very exciting.
Really exciting.
Rob, you set up a course
Yeah.
for people like me who wants to be a kit designer
Yep.
and can come and learn how to do it. How does it work?
Yeah, so probably quite useful for anybody that's planning to design something for FC Bullard as well. So
Yeah.
with myself and Craig, my business partner, who designed that 2002 Brazil kit, the two of us sat down and thought about what are the things that we would teach an aspiring designer when they come to design a kit. How do you hone that and refine that talent? And so if people go to sparkdesignacademy.com, it's a series of online lectures, videos. It's not a really, really long course. It's not like doing the Open University, but it'll give you all those insights, how to go and present to Manchester United or Manchester City, which we've both done in the past, how to unearth these stories. And listeners to the podcast can get a 25% discount if they use the code FC Bullard at checkout as well.
Nice touch.
We're doing deals already.
All right, no, that's nice, man.
That's brilliant.
That's good. Yeah. Right, Rob, we do ask all of our guests to bring in something.
Yeah.
So basically to fill our set, as you can see. You're the very first guest. What have you got for us? Have you got anything?
I have.
Go on.
So it's something that marked for me the start of my career. So I was living in Germany working for Puma. I designed a kit for VFB.
A sausage?
Close. Very close, actually. So yeah, I designed a Stuttgart kit.
Yep.
Dead excited, dream come true. But it didn't ever compute to me. I'd see it on the telly and be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Walking through a shop in Germany the one Saturday, and then who could be peeking back at me from the shelves but an action man, Kevin Kirani, with real kicking action, incredibly
so random, but I love
incredibly
it.
detailed goatee beard. Because I mean, look how precise the chops and the beard are on him. Back in that era, and the kit I designed. So for me personally, quite a momentous moment. I think having it created as a toy was even more impressive than having it put on the players.
Let's have a butcher's.
Brilliant.
So there we go. So you've now also got a German international centre forward.
Does it work?
I think he's never been out of the box.
This is brilliant.
Did they just do Kevin Karani? Or
there was a few there weren't all Stuttgart players. There was just a few Bundesliga players from the Kickomania collection. But yeah, I was really fortunate that Kevin was selected, and so that shirt's been committed to
Thanks, mate,
to the annals of history.
That's brilliant. Thank you, mate.
This is brilliant. You've got a little footy. Blinding, thank you. Lovely touch, sir.
Pleasure.
Thank you for today, mate.
Thanks for coming.
Have you enjoyed it?
It's been great. Yeah, really enjoyed myself.
And you won't be going anywhere because you're going to help us do this.
Is there anything that you'd like to, discuss or ask us, or anything that you want to?
Well, it's a good question.
Share with.
I think one of the things that always amazed me with working with footballers was, and thinking to the more modern era, where most of the guys are driving Ferraris, and they wear relatively inexpensive sportswear to work, and it always kind of took me by surprise, or always felt a bit weird.
What, as in shit gear? Yeah?
Well, not shit gear, but compared to what they'd wear at home. So it was like, how, and this could be something else for the brief for the designers of like, well, when you were, so you've held up that Umbro England shirt there, right? In your spare time, you weren't wearing Umbro t-shirts around the house.
No.
So, how could we close that gap between what players would choose to wear and what they have to wear for the American term, their uniform?
Yeah.
I mean, did you ever find that was a thing for you, that aside from the colours, you'd get given kits and be like, oh man, I don't want to, because I've always been a fusspot with fabrics. So
same.
When I was playing Sunday League football, I would have to wear a t-shirt underneath the shirt because the fabric was horrible.
That's what, that I still get given stuff to this day, like especially going into golf a little bit, but football still get given stuff where you're like, I'm not sure if I can wear that. I don't really like because of fabric or the colour or the fit or whatever the reasons are. Absolutely. So a lot of the stuff I wear is my own. I want to wear it. Yeah. I'll go and buy it myself. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? But it is nice when someone sends you a nice bit of smutter through and it's like, oh, that is. Because it's just extra special if you really like it and wear it. Yeah. So, to answer your question, there is a lot of stuff I get sent. Ain't for me. Absolutely.
A lot of the younger Premier League players now, though, they seem to be taking quite a lot of pride in what they are wearing when they turn up to training.
Like a photo shoot.
They do the fit. They do, don't they? They do like kind of the fit, whatever they call it.
It's like a catwalk.
What do they call it? The young ones, the fit. They're like the fit pics.
That's it.
A fit pic, pic. So like Madison does it, doesn't he? He films like whatever the lads are wearing.
It's dead baggy at the minute, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is
post-COVID,
dead baggy.
Isn't it? Everyone went baggy in COVID because they're just sitting about, comfort and not going out of it. Yeah.
The kits went through a phase of being real baggy, didn't they?
Yeah.
Long sleeve, and then it went through a tight phase. And I remember Zidane started wearing his shorts like up here, and Zidane was a player I used to look. So I started asking the kit man for like small boys shorts. Or large boys shorts. I remember Joe the kit man at Wigan. It was with this kit. It was with the blue and white Wigan striped kit. I'm holding up for all you listeners. And they had a beautiful blue silk short. The shorts were amazing, but it's almost like that material.
Yeah.
It was like real tight, no stretching.
They were like proper old school shorts from the 80s, weren't they?
They were so nice. But I wore them in like large boys. So Joe went, where am I going to get these from, the kit man? I went, just get them from the shop, man. I want to look like Zizou. So I'm just playing in a Prem at this point, right? I remember the first game I had them, I could hardly lift my legs up. The ball come over, Gary Teal swung a right-footed crossing, open goal, because the keeper's come out, missed it. He skidded off the deck. I couldn't pick my leg up to hit the shot. I fucking missed the ball, hardly hit it, put it wide. It's like 3 yards from goal. Julie's like, what are you doing? I went, my shorts are too tight, man. They're all crying. Oh, mate, since that day I had to get out of them.
Yeah.
They was too much. Yeah. So, to answer your question, I did go through that stage where I started wearing tighter kit, but not after that. I got ruined by the boys.
Yeah, you can't
I missed an open goal because I couldn't lift my fucking leg up.
I loved it when everyone started wearing long socks and gloves.
Gloves,
I was like, because I'd be
yeah.
playing on a Tuesday night, and I'm like, well, I was always like freezing, whatever.
But the thing with gloves, right? If you've got a tight kit, you've got to wear like tight, slick gloves with it.
Yeah.
Pascal Chimbonda had gardener gloves. It's like proper, like woolly, firmer. Like what's the name? insulate.
Yeah.
Mate, in June, I'm going, have a word.
Did they have a little bit around there like
I used to tape them.
Oh, right.
I used to tape them and have them. Then he used to have tights on. Oh, mate, I was like, drop me out. But yeah.
Because his base layer was so tight, it was cutting off the blood supply to his fingers. So.
It was unbelievable. But I've got to say, when a good quality, because he was unbelievable for us, you don't say nothing.
No.
Yeah.
If they're shit, they're getting ruined.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? But he passed. He was class A.
Well, quite often it is a superstitious thing, isn't it? When France got to the World Cup final in '98, Didier Deschamps famously had worn the same Puma King boots all the way through the tournament, and they were destroyed by the time they got to the final. Yeah, and he's played the final apparently with like his boots held together with duct tape. And Puma were like, put some new boots on, and he was like, no chance.
I used to play in. People couldn't believe this. I used to train in the same boot as I played in. I had them for like 2.5 years, Adi Pures, and I used to also get in the bath with them to soften them up. Hot water. They used to be real soft. They were like moccasins. In the end, I started taping them up to keep them together.
Yeah.
But did you know JT? I didn't know this. JT used to wear a fresh pair of boots to warm up in.
Yeah.
First half boot and a second half boot.
Yeah, that's right.
That's ludicrous.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Never more than 45 minutes in the same pair of boots.
That's unbelievable.
I know.
Blisteritis.
Well, it's all right if you've got a boot deal that allows you.
Fair enough, and that's fine. And he'd probably give a load of charity. But just as a footballer, I hate that.
But how was he? But like you said, blisteritis. How was he not getting blisters?
Well, I think for the most part, he was wearing Umbro Speciali, wasn't he? That were
real
like
soft.
Dead soft leather.
No, but even still, like it's a new. Surely
I know. I used to get blisters if I weren't careful for the certain boot if it weren't right. Yeah, especially with a footy sock, and then I tell you what they did go through the players, and this comes into a bit of kit, and it used to drive the kit man absolutely mad because if the top players do it, it filters down to non-league, didn't it? Cut the bottom of the socks off so they wear sports socks.
Yeah.
It absolutely ruined all the kits, and they all start fraying, and you pull your socks up and they're all up here. It's a joke. Kitmen used to do
it's right. So I remember we had to work on some socks with a cotton footbed because of that.
Yeah.
So it was like polyester nylon up the shaft of the sock. And then the footbed was was like a proper comfy sports sock.
Thick as well.
Yeah.
That didn't slide in the boot because I think that's what gives you the blister to slide.
Yeah.
But anyway, we could go on forever.
That's for the next. That's boots is
we've got to get
another
you
episode.
I still got 101
to.
questions, but like all the best editing is.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. It's been brilliant. I've absolutely loved it. Opened my mind, and I hope you get involved because we need them, John, don't we?
Thanks for coming in, and we'll you'll be hearing from us in due course.
Nice one.